So the Teddy Award is the highest honor that the NCAA may confer on an individual. It's named after President Theodore Roosevelt, whose concern for the conduct of intercollegiate athletics led to the formation of the NCAA in 1906. This award is given to a person who, by personal example and contributions to society, exemplifies the ideals to which collegiate athletics programs and amateur sports competition are dedicated. Tonight's Theodore Roosevelt Award recipient, Bob Delaney, played basketball at New Jersey City University. His teammates admired his leadership and elected him captain of the team in the 1971-72 season. Leadership proved critical to Delaney's success off the court as well. As an undercover trooper, an NBA referee, and the NBA's Vice President of Referee Operations and Director of Officials, he had an incredible impact on his world. Since August 2018, Delaney has been Special Advisor for Officiating, Development, and Performance at the Southeastern Conference. Dating back to his time as an official, Delaney has served as an NBA Cares Ambassador, promoting the league's Hoops for Troops and Mind Health programs. He also serves on the advisory board for the Tragedy and Assistance Program for Survivors, a program that provides comfort and care for families grieving the death of a military loved one. For his efforts, President Barack Obama conferred upon Delaney the President's Volunteer Service Award in 2010. Let's meet Bob Delaney.
I got introduced to Larry Shiner. Larry was the basketball coach, and I was accepted here to New Jersey City University. And that experience was amazing because they accepted me with open arms. This university taught me so much, not only about the game of basketball, but the game of life. It's not only learning about winning, it's learning how to lose, and it's learning about disappointments that come personally, but if that's what's good for the team, that's what's good for all of us. So those were great learning experiences that served me later in life. For some reason, while I was here at New Jersey City University, I didn't see the state police position or being a trooper as being a cop. I saw it more as someone that was serving their community, serving their state. And to me, that was what was important. When I first started in the state police in 1973, I walked in after 2 days off to Somerville Station, and there was a note to call Lieutenant Jack Liddy, Division Headquarters, Criminal Investigation Section, Organized Crime Bureau. He said to me, after a period of time of speaking, he said, "Are you interested in doing undercover work?" I said, "Yes, sir." He turned and walked away. I said, "Lieutenant, what is it? Narcotics, drugs?" He said, "You keep asking questions, you're going to be out of run." Over the next 3 weeks, I learned that the President's Organized Crime Task Force, the FBI, and New Jersey State Police were starting their own trucking company on the waterfront, New Jersey. I became one of those undercover guys. That decision was not a decision that was made other than kind of selfishly. I thought it would be pretty cool to work undercover, and I also thought that it was a good way for a career path to becoming a detective. The whole time that I was undercover, I was afraid. You know, there was such a conflict that was going on because I felt like I had cop written on my forehead. I thought everybody knew what I was doing at first. And then you become so immersed that you get so comfortable of being this new persona. I no longer saw myself as Bob Delaney. So you know, the street changes you, you don't change the street. And you live in the street long enough, I refer to it as like a toilet. If you stay in the toilet long enough, you're going to start to stink. That was the street, and it changed my morality. You know, there were times like that you thought that they may have figured out what's going on. I wore a wire over 350 times in conversations with mob guys, and my biggest fear was that if I was found with that, I would be thought to be an informant, and in that world, informants die. This investigation arrested close to 100 people after it was completely over. 5 to 6 to 7 years afterwards, before I felt safe, because I was going into courtrooms testifying, and it would, like a scab over an old wound, it would get knocked off, and it would bring back all these memories. Basketball came back and actually saved my life from my view. That was a comfortable place for me, a basketball court. After I surfaced from doing the undercover work, I started refereeing high school basketball. And then summer pro leagues over in the City College, New York, the Jersey Shore Summer Pro League. And one thing led to another, but it gave me an inner peace. Basketball gave me my life back. And then one thing led to another. I was working a game at the Jersey Shore Summer Pro League. Darryl Garrison was the director of officials for the NBA, happened to be in the stands, scouting officials. And I think he liked the fact of my state police background and being able to control the game, and asked if I was interested. I said yes. And he hired me into the Continental Basketball Association, where I stayed for 2 years while I was a state trooper. And then in 1987, I was hired full-time into the NBA. It was the combination of the knowledge of the game that I learned here at New Jersey City University, combined with the training that I got from the state police, that put me in a position that when I was refereeing, there was a command presence that took place. And that's what I think that was of interest to the NBA. I was good at doing undercover work. We're all good at doing something in life. I could do the kiss on the cheek and hang out with the mob guys, but I get 5 miles down the road and I have to pull over and throw my guts up. Yet, what I just said very freely to you took me years upon years to be able to process and be able to say to someone and be able to admit to those kinds of fears that I was going through. I think there's 2 great days in your life. I think it's the day you're born and the day you figure out why you were born. This experience for me was not only about putting away bad guys, it's what I learned about post-traumatic stress and what I went through, that today I help a lot of good people understand how to deal with the emotions that come with being in the military or law enforcement. And it took me a while to understand that courage is not about just running up hills with bullets coming at you. It's about doing things in spite of the fear that you have.
And now, please join me in welcoming New Jersey City President Sue Henderson and Bob Delaney.
That was very kind of you. I mean, what a great sight for me to be here looking out at people who, for the first time in their lives, ever applauded for a referee. If you want me to feel comfortable or at ease, please boo and yell and scream. That's the environment that I'm used to. Thank you to the NCAA for the honor of the Theodore Roosevelt Award. We accomplished nothing by ourselves. And I was fortunate to have the great leaders in my life sit across the dining room table, my mom and dad, Bob and Mary Delaney. I was truly raised by a village with my grandparents, aunts and uncles, family members, friends, having an influence on my life. A special thanks to my sister Kathleen, who I'm sure is watching, my daughter Shannon, her husband Ryan, my grandsons Austin and Landon, and to my other children, Carter, Chase, and Summer. Folks, I've made a lot of calls in my life. Some good, some not so good. But the best call I ever made was to Billy Delaney, my wife. It's because of you that I'm here. My biggest cheerleader, my biggest supporter, my love for you never ends. Because without you, none of this ever happens. I've been on a team since I was 9 years old. Between Little League and CYO, played high school basketball. And all of that was learning from coaches. And I was very fortunate that my high school basketball coach, Bob Placinik, played for Seton Hall University, and Richie Regan had a strong influence on my life as well, a man that many of you may have heard of. Bob Perdue is my baseball coach. Coaches have an influence. To my alma mater, New Jersey City University, Sue Henderson, who presented me here. Thank you for the great work that you do at New Jersey City University and what you do for the NCAA. Jason Kroll, Vice President of New Jersey City University, who's here with us today. Sean Tucker, our athletic director, who looks like he still should be playing for Rutgers University. And to Ira Thor, Assistant Athletic Director, and has so many other titles at New Jersey City University, who nominated me for the Teddy Roosevelt Award, did so much work behind the scenes to make that video what it is today. My college basketball coach is here with us, Larry Shiner, and his wife, Barbara. And Coach, thank you for teaching me about the game of basketball, but more importantly, about the game of life. You taught us how to win humbly. You taught us how to lose graciously and how to use disappointment as motivation. That's what good coaches do. And next month, all of us from New Jersey City University will be there to rededicate the Sports Hall of Fame at New Jersey City University that will be known forever as the Larry Shiner New Jersey City University Hall of Fame. Coach, thank you for everything you've done for me. New Jersey State Police is another part of my foundation, as you saw in the video. That outfit is steeped in deep military tradition. It was founded by Colonel H. Norman Schwarzkopf, the father of the famed General H. Norman Schwarzkopf of the Gulf Wars. And that value-based training that he brought down from West Point has served me well all throughout my life. That undercover life that I led, I was told that it was a 6-month investigation. Like we were going to end organized crime in the state of New Jersey in 6 months. And we learned very quickly that wasn't going to happen. It became 3 years of my life. But I had to go through that experience, and I understand that today, that experience allows me to be able to share with those that serve, with their experience. It gave me 4 decades of working with men and women in the military, law enforcement, firefighters, first responders, and now it's grown into sports teams. Because in this world, trauma is inescapable. And having education and awareness provides strength through knowledge. As was mentioned, I'm a TAPS board member, Tragedy Assistance Programs for Survivors. Bonnie Carroll started that 25 years ago when her husband, General Tom Carroll, was killed in a military plane crash. Out of tragedy, she created a home for grieving hearts. Families going through the unimaginable. Well, there are many ways to help, like with the Good Grief Camp for the little ones that we have. I'm going to make a pitch to all of you. We also have teams for TAPS. We started this in the NBA, it went to the NFL, Major League Baseball, National Hockey League. We know when a family goes to a game that their service member hero was a fan of, or a college game where he or she attended. That is a special connection. Another step in their healing journey. As you all know, the power of sports is not only about points on the scoreboard and wins or losses. The games and environment around sports is a place where we come together and create memories. I've worked for 3 commissioners. Today I work, as was stated, for the Southeastern Conference, Greg Sankey, and all the good people at the Southeastern Conference. And it's an honor to be a part of their team at this chapter of my life. I worked for Adam Silver as the Vice President of Referee Operations, Director of Officials. Rod Thorne was there as well, and Mike Bantam. And I learned about leadership on a daily basis while I was there. And the first commissioner I worked for was David Stern. I met David in 1985. Yesterday was his celebration of life memorial service. It was held at Radio City Music Hall. You know you have a life of influence if they're holding your memorial service at Radio City Music Hall. And he was a demanding boss with a big heart. And he told me over and over, there is always a next act. Heaven just got one hell of a next act. Rest in peace, boss. Godspeed, friend. Mark Emmerich, I know Mark, thank you for your personal letter, and thank you for reaching out and all the folks that work for you. This has been an amazing experience. I mean, Jesse and Gina and Nikki, Craig, and all the folks that are behind this curtain, the Wizard of Oz has nothing on them. I mean, they are doing amazing work. But, Billy and I have had an amazing experience here, Mark. And I just want to wonder, has anyone ever won this back-to-back? Because I'd like to repeat and come back here next year and get this award again. In closing, I'd like to share a story. In 2013, Veterans Day, Eve, David Robinson and I represented the NBA, and we met with a Special Forces SEAL team in Williamsburg as they came back from a deployment. We met with them and their families and had dinner with them. The next day, we represented the NBA as guests of General Jeff Buchanan at the Tomb of the Unknowns, at the wreath laying in Arlington Cemetery. And David and his sister-in-law and his brother-in-law, his sister and his brother-in-law were there. Billy and I were there. And we were front and center as President Obama laid the wreath honoring our fallen. President Obama spoke afterwards and introduced the world to Mr. Richard Overton. At the time, the oldest living World War II veteran at 107 years of age. He served at Pearl Harbor, Okinawa, Iwo Jima. David Robinson and I caught eye contact. We wanted to meet this great American. And we moved as fast as we had since we came off the floor of the NBA. We got over to meet him, take photos. And all along I was thinking, had I lived during the time that he served, he and I would have drank from different water fountains. He and I would have used different restrooms. Yet he fought for me. He fought for me and my family. He fought for everyone in this room. And I thanked Mr. Overton over and over. And I think I went too far because at one point he grasped my hand a little tighter, and he pulled me a little closer, and with a glimmer in his eye, he said, "You know, I can still do more." He passed away at 112 years of age. The NCAA President Teddy Roosevelt Award is given in recognition. I see it also as a reminder of Richard Overton, David Stern, and President Roosevelt's inspiring words to do all we can, to do more, to make our world a better place. So my hope for all of you is that you stay healthy, stay safe, and take care of one another. Thank you and God bless.